Good morning students, welcome to our today's online session. Hope all are fine. Take good care of yourself during this corona period. So last week we were discussing a chapter from our supplementary reader. Today we are going to discuss another poem, the third poem in your textbook, A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris, a Welsh poet and a short story writer. In this poem, the poet is telling us that these wild animals are better in the forest than they are in the zoo. In the forest, they can go for hunting, they can freely roam around, there won't be any restrictions for these animals. But when it comes in the zoo, they are completely restricted, restrained in a cage. So the theme of the poem is mainly freedom. Now let us see what the poem tells us to us. Let's go for a line by line explanation.
So let's have a look at the lines of the poem. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on parts of velvet white in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plum deer pass. He should be snarling round houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Look at the first stanza. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on parts of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Here the poet is talking about the tiger. He has used the pronoun he to talk about the tiger. So human quality is bestowed upon the tiger. So you can infer what can be the poetic device? Yes, personification. Okay. So poetic device is a device used to bestow human qualities on something that is not human. So the poetic device used in this poem is personification. So the poet is telling he stalks in his vivid stripes. So vivid means prominent. So this tiger, he is stalking, walking here from this corner to that corner and back from there. So this tiger is stalking in his vivid stripes. In his vivid means very prominent yellow stripes over his body. The few steps of his cage. So in the cage he is stalking. He is taking 2 steps from one corner to the other corner on parts of velvet quiet, and his paws, you know what is the paw, P-A-W. So on parts of velvet, so his paws are compared to the velvet cloth. So it is soft like velvet. His paws are soft like velvet. So he is moving very quietly without making any sound on parts of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Even though he is not making any sound, he is very angry. So what is the tiger doing now? He is stalking in his cage very angrily. And another poetic device used in the third line, on parts of velvet. So velvet like parts. What is that? Metaphor. Poetic device used here is metaphor. Now look at the second stanza. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plum deer pass. And the poet is telling, now if he was there in the forest, now he is here in the cage. If it was there in the forest, what will be he doing? He will be lurking in the shadow. He will be hiding in the shadow. And what he will be doing? Sliding through long grass near the water hole where plum deer pass. When a plum deer passes by a water hole, so when a plum. Plum means a fat deer passes by the water hole, he will be sliding through the long grass. He will be jumping through the long grass without making a noise. And for the purpose, he will be hiding behind the shadow if he was there in the forest. And look at the third stanza. He should be snarling around houses. Otherwise, what he might have been doing? He should be snarling around the houses. He will be walking around the houses, snarling, making loud noise, roaring at the jungle's edge. So at the jungle's edge, he will be snarling around the houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, showing his long white fangs. What is a fang? The teeth of the tiger. So showing his white fangs, his claws, nails on his paws, his claws, terrorizing the village. So he will be terrorizing the village. He will be spreading terror around the village by his roaring sound, showing his teeth and his claws. So if he was there in the forest, he might be hiding under a shadow and sliding through the long grass over a plum deer, or he will be snarling around the houses at the edge of the village and terrorizing the whole village. Now look at the fourth stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell. But what happened now? But he is completely locked in the concrete cell. Which is a concrete cell? The concrete cage here. So he is locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind bars. Strength here means his body. His body behind the bars of the cell. Bars of the cell. Stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. And what is he doing now? Now he is not in the forest, he is in the cage, and he is stalking in the cage, ignoring, paying null attention to the visitors. So now he is in the cage, he is stalking in the cage. And what about the last stanza? He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The last voice that he hears will be the noise of the patrolling cars. He ignores those sounds also. And what he is doing, he stares at the brilliant stars in the sky. So he is simply staring. So he gives little attention to these visitors. He pays little attention to the sounds of the patrolling cars. He stares at the brilliant stars in the sky. So this is the poem. Thus the poem ends up at the point where it had started. And in this poem, the poet raises a moral issue here. He intends to present a strong case against cruelty on animals which are kept in cages. So here he is talking about the freedom of the tiger or the freedom of the animals in the cage. So here you can find the rhyme scheme. You have to find out the rhyme scheme of the poem. Check the rhyme scheme and you will find it as A, B, C, B. Okay, first line stripes is, so A. Second line last word cage, J. Then B. Last line last word quite, Ch. Entirely different. So C. And last line last word rage, B again. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. And we discussed, and the poetic device used here is personification, because the tiger is bestowed with the qualities of a human being. So poetic device used is personification. Then you will find a metaphor in the third line of the stanza, pads of velvet. So his paws are compared to velvet clothes. So their metaphor, the poetic device is metaphor, as a comparison is made without using the word like or as. Pads of velvet, like or as is not used there. So the poetic device is metaphor. So this is our poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. A very important poem, and the theme of the poem is freedom of the animal. And here the poet is telling us that the tiger lives in an unnatural and unhappy life in the zoo. He is not living in his own forest. Okay, so that's our poem. Now read the poem by yourself Take down the notes, watch the URL, and attend the test. Till we meet in our next class, take care. Bye bye.